So far from home, the Austinite turned astronaut, one of a chosen few who will be on the final Space Shuttle flight later on this year. Now, he just started training for the historic mission in Houston, but he's actually been preparing since he was a little kid here in Austin.
High above Austin, many moons ago, a little boy named Timothy Kopra had a dream, and it was in black and white.
3, 2, 1.
The kid from Austin wanted to be an astronaut, just like the heroes from Apollo he and his older brother were watching on TV.
And I remember staying up with my brother, watching the moon landings.
It's one small step for man.
But Kopra lost focus of that far-flung dream by the time he made it to McCallum High School. An average teenager, he says he was more interested in speeding down the drag than into the heavens. More smitten with the idea of launching into Barton Springs than into space. But while he was at McCallum, his sights once again turned toward the sky, with the first ever launch of the Space Shuttle Columbia in 1981.
But I remember what a phenomenal thing that was.
Kopra found he still had that childhood dream.
It was always in the back of my mind.
And so he followed it all the way into the astronaut corps.
Booster ignition and liftoff of Endeavour.
And finally up into space, where last year he ventured for the first time, riding the shuttle to the International Space Station, where he stayed for 2 months, working inside and outside.
Fun engineer Tim Kopra just coming up behind them to stop and watch for a second.
There's nothing better than being in space.
As exhilarating as it was, though, his first trip aboard the shuttle might well be trumped by his last trip aboard the shuttle.
We've all known this was coming.
His next flight will be NASA's final mission using the orbiter that helped recapture Kopra's interest so many years ago and still amazes him today.
What we've been able to do with the Space Shuttle is really mind-boggling, and I think it far exceeds what the designers of the Space Shuttle even thought that we could do.
To get ready for the fall launch, Kopra is now in Houston, going through the familiar shuttle training once again.
Our day is controlled by Outlook. You go to your schedule and it tells you exactly what you're going to do.
And here they are.
This time, he expects he and his crew will be emotional.
That nostalgia will kick in
as they make the farewell voyage in the vehicle that has been the flagship of the American space program for the past 3 decades.
It's become an American icon.
Kopra plans to enjoy every moment of the shuttle's final flight because, unlike on his last trip up, this time he'll have a window seat during the launch. Sorry for the cliche, but the vantage point should provide vistas that are out of this world, if they're anything like what Kopra saw during his stay on the space station. From volcanoes to hurricanes, he's seen nature at its most exotic and grandiose. But no matter what comes into view, Kopra, who's literally been around the world, many times over in fact, says the most special place, the one that still keeps him grounded, is Austin, Texas.
Has to be my favorite town still. There's a very unique and somewhat quirky personality of Austin that some people are just drawn to, and I still am.
Now, all these years later, Kopra will be able to look down at the hometown from where he once looked up. His black and white boyhood dream that he too would someday make history in space will be fulfilled in a black and white spacecraft.
It's a neat thing. It's a neat thing for everybody.
As he rides the final shuttle into the sunset.
Kopra's wife and kids, his brother and sister, and his mom, who lives here in Austin, will watch him take off on NASA's last shuttle flight, scheduled for September. We talked with his proud mother, who told us the family loves getting together for the launches, but that the whole thing still makes her a nervous wreck. Understandable.